We all hear the same advice for a long, healthy life, right? Stay active, keep your muscles strong. But what if focusing just on strength is kind of like missing half the story? It turns out that when it comes to longevity, it might not be about how much you can lift, but about how fast you can lift it. Yeah, let's get into it.
So let me just ask you this right off the bat. Think about how you work out. Is your main goal to build that raw brute strength? Or is it to build a body that can handle all the weird, unpredictable things life throws at you for, decades to come? It seems like a small difference, but as we're about to find out, it makes a world of difference.
Okay, first things first, let's get our definition straight, because this is what our whole explainer is built on. Muscle strength is pretty much what we all think it is. It's the absolute max force you can generate, like a super heavy, slow, grinding deadlift. But muscle power, that's a different beast. It's all about speed. It's how quickly you can generate that force. Think about jumping up onto a box or explosively pushing yourself up out of a low chair. So, strength is the force, power is force plus speed.
And it's that second idea, muscle power, that a really groundbreaking study suggests we've been seriously underestimating. Let's take a look at the actual data.
So, researchers dove into this massive study with nearly 4,000 middle aged and older adults. They followed them for over a decade and they measured two key things: their muscle strength, using a simple hand grip test, and their muscle power, using a dynamic rowing type movement. And the question they wanted to answer was pretty simple: which one of these is a better predictor of who actually lives longer? Wow, the results were, wow, not subtle at all. Just look at this chart. It shows the risk of dying from any cause. For the folks with low muscle strength, yeah, their risk was a bit higher. But for the people with low muscle power, their risk went through the roof. The ability to generate force quickly was a way better predictor of survival than just being able to generate a lot of force, period. Let's put a real number on that for the men in the study. After they adjusted for things like age and other health issues, the men with the lowest muscle power were almost 6 times more likely to die during the study than the men with the highest power, a nearly six-fold increase in risk. For comparison, having low strength was only a 1.6 times higher risk. I mean, it's not even close. And you think that's a big number? For women, it was even more mind-blowing. The women with the lowest muscle power had a nearly 7 times greater risk of mortality compared to the women who had the most. So look, the big takeaway here is that this is not some small statistical blip. This is a massive, flashing red light telling us that muscle power is absolutely critical for our long-term health. And that brings us to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? Why? Why does speed matter so much more than pure strength? Well, think about daily life. You need power to catch yourself before a fall, to quickly lift a heavy suitcase into an overhead bin, or just to get up from a low couch. Those things require speed, not just a slow grind. But the real reason power fades so fast and is so dangerous goes way deeper than just our muscles. To really get to the bottom of this, we kind of have to solve a mystery, a neurological whodunit, if you will. And the crime scene isn't the muscle itself, it's the command and control center that's supposed to be running the show. Yeah, it turns out the loss of our explosive power isn't really a story about our muscle tissue just getting old and weak. No, it's a story about neurological decline. The signals that go from our brain and our spinal cord down to our muscles, they start to change, and those changes have some pretty huge consequences. So here's the deal. As we age, we literally start to lose the nerve cells in our spinal cord that tell our muscles to contract. They're called motor neurons. And this isn't a small thing. It can be a loss of 25% or more, and it really speeds up after age 60. But here's the kicker. Our body doesn't just lose them randomly. It gets rid of the fastest motor neurons first, the ones that control our powerful, explosive, fast-twitch muscle fibers. So as these fast fibers get disconnected from the grid, the remaining slow motor neurons try to be helpful and rewire them. The result? Those once powerful fibers get converted into slow ones. Our entire muscular system literally gets rewired for slowness. And you can see what's happening right here, at the microscopic level. A healthy connection between nerve and muscle is super tight and efficient. But look at this image from an older person. You can see that connection is frayed. It's breaking down. This is the exact spot where speed and power start to die, right there at that critical connection. And the effect of that failing signal just cascades right down into the muscle fiber itself. This image shows you the inside of an older muscle cell. Instead of that neat, organized pattern you're supposed to see, it's just chaos. It's a jumbled mess. The very machinery that generates a force is falling apart. Not because the machine is broken, but because it's not getting clear instructions from the nervous system. So now we can finally connect all the dots. We can take the what, the results from that huge mortality study, and combine it with the why, the science of our aging nervous system.
Okay, so here's the entire story step by step. 1. Our nervous system gets older and we lose those critical motor neurons. 2. The system specifically gets rid of the fastest ones first. 3. This directly causes our muscle power to decline much, much faster than our muscle strength. And 4. That loss of power makes us way less able to handle the real world, to stop a fall, to get up quickly, which directly increases our risk of getting hurt, losing our independence, and ultimately it increases our risk of dying. This has absolutely huge implications for how doctors even define age-related muscle decline, which is a condition called sarcopenia. Right now, when they diagnose it, they're mainly looking at muscle size and muscle strength. But the authors who wrote about this huge study are basically saying, hey, wait a minute, we might be measuring the wrong thing. If power is a much better predictor of survival, then a definition of sarcopenia that just ignores it is missing the most important piece of the entire puzzle.
So, what does this all mean for you and me? Well, it means we might need to seriously rethink what it means to train for a long, functional, and healthy life.
I think this quote from the Mayo Clinic Proceedings editorial just nails it. The whole way we think about this has to shift. The big question shouldn't just be about the amount of weight on the bar. It has to be about the speed of the bar. And that means we should probably be focusing more on power-based training, things like kettlebell swings, box jumps, or even just lifting moderate weights, but with real speed and intention.
And that brings us right back to that very first question. As we've seen, the ability to generate force quickly is directly linked to the health of our nervous system, and it's a massive predictor of how long and how well we're going to live. So take an honest look at your own routine. Are you just building strength, or are you actively training the speed and the coordination that actually defines functional power? Because all the evidence we just looked at suggests that might be the most important workout you ever do.